And as we kind of move forward here, there's a couple things that we need to know. So let's say that we do find a property, the supply and demand looks good. Um, we need to get as much information about that property. So what you're going to do is either send them a letter or you're going to cold call them and get in touch with the owner. Now, we're not talking right now. I'm talking about unlisted facilities. So we're just calling a property, getting in touch with the owner. If you're talking with a broker, you'll also go through this same process. But the more information you have, this will help you do your research and start to determine, what the valuation of that property is going to be. But without this information, it's really difficult to figure that information out. So here's some of the information that you're going to want to collect. The first thing you want to get, which is the most important, is the income to expenses. This is going to give you a majority of the info that you need to know. You also want to get the current occupancy, excuse me, the unit mix and cost per unit, which is really, really important. Having the unit mix and knowing what they're charging per unit will allow you to compare that with your competitors. So for an example, if your competitors are currently charging $70 for a 10 by 10 and the facility you're looking at is only charging $45, well, there's plenty of room there for you to actually increase those rental rates so that you're in line with where the market is. And that will allow you to increase the value of the property exponentially. So that's really important, getting the unit mix. Now, I will tell you there's a handful of owners that you'll talk to that don't want to give that information out right away, and that's normal. Sometimes they're just a little nervous. They think you might be a competitor calling to see what their rates are. If you run into this issue, what I would encourage you to do is just say something along the lines of, hey, that's totally okay if you're not willing to share that information. Would you be more comfortable sharing that information if I were to sign a non-disclosure agreement? And that's essentially just a quick contract that lets them know that you're not going to disclose or share that information with anybody else. So it's pretty straightforward. Moving on here, after the unit mix, we want to look at, is the property fenced or is it gated? Does it have cameras? Now, having it fenced and gated will allow you to automate the property. Now, you don't necessarily need to have a fence or gate to automate the property. There's other resources and tools that you can use, such as DaVinci locks. That will actually, those locks will sync up with your Easy or your ESS software, so you can still automate it to some degree, but the fence and the gate are nice touches. So if you plan on having those, you just want to keep that in mind if they already have them or not, because that's something you'll have to add into your budget. Finding out when the property was built, how long they've been in business, any repairs or damages to the facility. And then once you have that information, you want to go around and figure out what the competitors are charging and how full they are. And what you can do is just simply call some of the competitors and say, hey, I'm just looking to rent out a few different size units. I'm not entirely sure what size I need. I was just curious what some of your price points were. Get an idea of what they're charging per unit and then compare that to the facility that you're looking at. Again, the big thing that we want to do here is we want to find out where the property currently is, the one that you're looking at, and then where the competitors are. And if there's a gap there and that allows us to increase rental rates, well, that allows us to increase the NOI, which is the net operating income. We'll get into that next. And that allows you to increase the value of the property, which in return is more money in your pocket. So having plenty of data just allows you to figure out this process a lot easier. It lets you determine what the property is going to be worth and what it's currently worth. And so getting as much information as you can is going to benefit you.